Ladies and gentlemen, UFC 322 is shaping up to be one of the best cards that we've seen all year. And I'll damn near say it might be the best card we've seen since UFC 300. Could that be a little controversial? Maybe. There's been a lot of great cards, but we'll maybe have to touch on that point sometime in the future. But today I'm here to talk about specifically the main event of the evening, main event in Madison Square Garden. We have Islam Makhachev moving up to 170, vacating his title from 155. He's going for that double champ status against Jack Della Maddalena, who just beat Bilal Muhammad in May, I believe. And this is shaping up to be probably the best fight we've seen all year. You know, we did think it was going to be DDP versus Chimaev, and we saw how that played out. I do think this one will be at least a little more competitive than that. I mean, it'd be tough for it not to be more competitive than that. And I'll keep it frank, even though I'm not talking about that fight. That fight was dog shit. So I hope that we don't get that for this card, for this main event. I hope we get a banger. This card's a banger. So yeah, but today I'm more specifically talking about what happens if Islam Makhachev goes out there and gets the win. I'll keep it plain and simple. I'll keep it frank with you guys. I think we're looking at the GOAT of the sport if Islam Makhachev goes out there and defeats JDM. In this video, the whole point of this video is why Islam Makhachev is fighting for GOAT status and why he would become the GOAT of MMA, the GOAT of the UFC, obviously. And there's plenty of reasons, and I'm gonna go over all of them here today. And I think, just before I really get into it, I think it would be undeniable. I think you'd have too many reasons to not have him as your GOAT of the sport. I think the only reason would be because he hasn't finished his career, and he didn't have as many fights as the other guys that you have up there. But I think easily Islam not easily, but Islam in my books becomes the GOAT of the sport. Pretty plain and simple. But yeah, without further ado, enough of the yapping. Here is why Islam is fighting for GOAT status in this next card. Number one, he would have that illustrious double champ status. I think you don't have to be a double champ in order to be a GOAT or in order to be top 15, top 10, top 5. But when you do have that double champ status, it definitely raises your stock by a whole lot. Just because we know all the people that are GOAT of the sports do have double champ status. We talk about GSP, we talk about John Jones, we talk about, let's see, who's also out there. We talk about a DC. I feel like I'm missing someone that's really up there. Obviously we have a Paulatan that's more of a top 15 range, top 10 range. But when you have that double champ status, and especially John Jones and GSP, because I think there's no way you don't have those guys in your top 3, in your top 4. Like, if they're not in your top 3 or 4, I think I can't trust your opinion when it comes to MMA. I think your opinion of MMA probably isn't that good, just because those guys they've really shown why they're GOATs of the sport in numerous ways. And one of those ways is that they are double champs, and Islam Makhachev would become a double champ and maybe one of the most difficult transitions in weight. I think obviously GSP went from 170 to 185. I think that's a really big jump. Islam would be going from 155 to 170, which we have never seen. We've never seen anyone ever do that. Ever. We've never seen anyone ever do that, ever. Actually, I'm lying. I think there's been a couple. I think BJ Penn and not sure who else, actually. But I think there actually has been one. So scratch that. I'm a fucking idiot. But this is modern MMA, and I'll get to that in a little bit of what modern MMA means and how that's different from MMA in the past. But he would be modern in a modern double champ status, going from 155 to 170. He basically cleared out the lightweight division, bar Arman Sarukian, But this isn't Islam's fault. I mean, Arman Tsarukyan decided to be a fucking idiot and injure his neck to impress Nina Jama. But we've seen him beat him before. Albeit they were both tadpoles. I think it would have been a much different fight in terms of their skill level if we got to see that fight. But even still, I think Islam would be undeniable if he wins this next fight. But if he would have beat Arman Tsarukyan, if he would have finished Arman Tsarukyan, I think there's zero debate as to why he went up. And I still think there's zero debate because I believe he would have still beat Arman either way. But, you know, we never got to see that. Maybe one day we'll get to see that. And obviously he hasn't beat Ilia Topuria. That would be another fight that would really cement him as GOAT status. Ilia is in my top 5 of all time. So obviously in my books, that would be really impressive. But double champ, a modern welterweight in JDM, who is on a win streak, who beat Bilal Muhammad, who he was on a win streak. So I think JDM is a really skilled fighter. He has crisp boxing, obviously great takedown defense as we saw against Bilal Muhammad. I think this is going to be a great fight, and if he gets the job done and becomes double champ, he would have that illustrious, you know, status that no one in Dagestan, you know, we complain a lot about the Dagestani guys, but he'd be the first one ever to get the double champ status, and he'd put himself into a room with the elite of the elite, and not to mention, you know, all the other things that I'm going to talk about. So double champ status, I think, for one, is the biggest thing, obviously, that we see at face value. And if he can go out there and get a couple more defenses at welterweight, that would be crazy. Just because there's going to be a lot of fresh matchups. Or if he faces Ilia Topuria, obviously I would not mind that at all. Where would we see that fight at welterweight for a championship fight? You know, these are all questions that we don't really know. And, you know, we don't even know that if that fight's going to happen. And that would, I think everyone would agree that would fucking suck if that fight never happens. Everyone, we all need to see that fight happen. That would be a generational fucking fight. It'd be so good. The trash talk, just everything. But for now, we are getting Islam Makhachev in a couple of weeks here, and he would be going for that double champ status. So number one, that's my first reason why I think he would be the GOAT, or why he's fighting for GOAT status. Number two is that illustrious Anderson Silva win streak that a lot of people love to talk about. I mean, I think it'd be undeniable in that way. He would match Anderson Silva in modern day MMA with a fucking 16-fight win streak. A 16-fight win streak in the UFC, in MMA, in modern day MMA, sorry. Like, that would be fucking crazy, especially considering all the guys that he's faced, which I will get into here in my next point. This win streak has been held up, obviously, since Anderson Silva, I think back in the early 2010s. This guy would go out there and match that streak. This is one of the best records you could have, especially if then he goes out there and gets another win and he'd break the record. But as you see there with the other guy in his number 2 spot, it is kind of a cursed record. Kamaru Usman up 3-4 rounds to fucking, what's this guy's name? Come on, Leon! Come on, Leon! To Leon Edwards, and he gets, you know, kicked to the face. Good night. Record over. Title over. And he wasn't able to beat that win streak that Anderson Silva has. A lot of the casuals, and I think this is more for the casuals out there, because you don't necessarily need to have a big win streak in order for people to consider you the GOAT. Just because you don't need to be undefeated for people to consider you the GOAT in MMA and in the UFC. Obviously, because there's so many guys that are high level. But all these casuals love to talk about his win streak. You know, I don't think anyone will ever beat the title. Defenses won. But if Islam could go out there and get this win streak that a lot of casuals love to talk about, you're shutting them the fuck up, man. And I think it'd just be an idiot of them to just say that Anderson Silva did it better, or that he did it. He fucking definitely didn't do it against better comp. That's for fucking sure. I'll tell you that for free. on weekdays and for free on Saturday and Sunday as well. So I think there would be no argument in terms of also this other record that he would have. And he would do it to a modern day skilled fighter in JDM. I mean, that'd be such a great win. And then the next fight would be another fucking great win. It'd be either, I mean, a Sean Brady. It'd be, you know, an Ian Gary maybe. It'd be a Shavkat. It'd be maybe a Leon or Pratis themselves. There's a lot of fights to see who would be up next. So welterweight is very fucking interesting indeed, regardless of what happens. But you know, my number 2 point, that win streak would be a crazy number to get at. He would have not lost in, I believe, at least 6, and I won't say the next number, but in 6 years, ever since he got knocked out in his second or third UFC fight, I believe it was. So yeah, man, that would be fucking crazy, I believe. I mean, who's next here? Merab is the only other guy in this category that's still active. John Jones, I guess. But this is my second point. The win streak would be crazy. It'd be one of the best we've ever seen, considering the names. Speaking of the names, talk about the fucking resume this guy would have. I mean, in these two pictures, these are his two best title wins, title defenses. You have a prime Alexander Volkanovski, an actual fight camp ready Alexander Volkanovski. That first fight they have is probably the most skilled fight we have ever seen. Might get replaced here in this next pay-per-view, but this was one of the best and most high skilled level fights we have ever seen. And obviously Charles Oliveira is still winning to this fucking day, man. To this fucking day. Charles Oliveira in his modern day, I would say, I don't know what's the right word to put it. Since Charles Oliveira locked the fuck in, he's only ever lost to 3 names. Islam Makhachev, as you see in this picture, Ilia Topuria, and Arman Tsarukyan. And those are 3 and that Arman fight was super close. It was super close. He had him in sub a couple times. Obviously against Islam and Topuria. They weren't that close. Those are just 2 GOATs of the sport. Arman Tsarukyan is not fucking top 15 Lucas Tracy. But the 2 guys are. And obviously Volk is a top 5 fighter of all time in my opinion. I mean, talk about a fight, man. Like, if you want to go and watch the high-skilled MMA fight, go back and watch that Volk versus Islam. Islam clearly won that fight, I believe, 3-2 at worst. A lot of people have 4-1, but it's just a great skilled fight. I mean, the way that Volk was able to stuff the takedowns, to mix up the striking, being the shorter guy, even though he does have a good reach. I believe JDM's going to have a similar game plan. He's just going to be taller than Islam and have a 3-inch reach advantage. So that's why that fight is super fucking interesting as well. And this is assuming that Islam beats JDM. So if you look at this little chart, this little graphic I made, you'd be looking at a great win in Islam Makhachev's career. In terms of GOAT wins, he has 3. He has Volk twice. I would say maybe 1.5 because Volk was fat. He was coming off the couch. He had just had the arm surgery or the elbow surgery, whatever it was. And he did look fat. He didn't look himself. But he would have fought Charles Oliveira. He was going to fight Charles Oliveira in that card. So it's difficult to say that. No, it's difficult to not count it, I mean, because either way, like, he was going to face a GOAT of the sport. And for me, Charles is a top 15 fighter of all time. If you haven't seen my GOAT video, go watch it. That was my introduction to this world. And even from them to now, you can see my improvement in just making these videos. So, yeah, he would have 3 GOAT wins, 2 great wins. Dustin Poirier is a great win, especially the way that Dustin fought that fight. It was something like we haven't seen before at his, cobbly wobbly age. And then JDM would be easily in that conversation. I mean, JDM has been on a welterweight win streak. He beat Bilal, so that automatically puts him in the great category here. And then in terms of good wins, I mean, Dan Hooker, Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan is a great win, but since they were both tadpoles, we're gonna put it in the good win territory. Renato Moicano, that was a great win. maybe I could put him up at great, but I think he's kind of on level with these guys. Top 10 ranked, top 15 ranked lightweights. And I'm putting Chidobe and King Green. And why the fuck did I put King Green now? I'm looking at it. It's Bobby fucking Knuckles Green, man. This is what I get for copy and pasting from fucking ESPN. I'm putting those in one. Like those two count as one good win. And all the other wins, they're kind of filler wins. You don't really recognize the name. Maybe Thiago Moises, but I won't count him. So I'm combining those two names since they were both ranked and kind of at a good level at lightweight at one point. I'm combining them for a good win. So 2 equals 1 good win. But this is a crazy resume. This is a crazy amount of names. And you look, how he made Charles look, how he knocked. Because it's one thing, like you couldn't be able to get, I don't know, a fucking Josh Emmett off the couch with Volk off the couch. He's not knocking out Volk the way that Islam did. He's just not doing that. Let's see who else in lightweight. Just anyone else in lightweight, a top 5-10 guy, he would not do that. It takes a GOAT. It takes a highly skilled guy. It takes a top 3, a champion to be able to do that to a Volk. And I don't fucking care that he's coming off the couch because Volk is such a good fighter. I mean, he came back after being knocked out and won the first round against Ilya. So obviously it's not a skill issue. It was never a skill issue. It was just an athletic issue. It was just an issue that is not really Volk's fault. But Islam Makhachev did him fucking dirty. I'm not going to lie. And then he did fucking Charles Oliveira dirty too, man. I mean, he pieced him up on the feet, knocked him down, and was able to pass his guard so easily. Obviously, Charles is stunned, so it's different. And submitted probably the best submission artist in UFC history. So that says a lot. That's a fucking to be able to sub Charles Oliveira is crazy, man. And he fucking went out there and did it. Arman head triangle choked him. I mean, the resume on this guy would just be undeniable. I think more than anything, like I've said, he would be undeniable. So my number 3 point is that Islam, the resume, it would just be too good. It'd be too good. It would stack up great against other resumes like a GSP, like a John Jones. I mean, when you talk about all-time wins for those guys, John Jones has 1, which is DC, and GSP has 0, I believe. I mean, I can't think of anyone great that he beat. Obviously, he had a lot of good defenses, but Islam would have just too many great wins, too many GOAT wins, and too many wins that he's undeniable. I mean, the second best defense from John Jones is maybe Gustafsson, but Gustafsson was never that good. Let's see who the fuck. I mean, obviously he beat Cyril Gane and Stipe. Are we really gonna count that? I mean, fucking John Jones lost to Dominic Reyes, guy. I know I love to come here and trash John Jones, but I think Islam's resume would pass up John Jones if it hasn't already, to be honest. So number 3, I think the resume. I think Islam would all his wins would be undeniable. They'd all be just too good. They would compare too good against other fighters. So number 3 would be the resume. And finally, the last point that I do have as to why Islam Makhachev is fighting for GOATs, it's just because of the modern day skill that he's been able to showcase in front of the fans. I mean, this guy was able to go out there and have a tit for tat battle with fucking Dustin the Diamond Import. Dude, you know what you did, dude. And he was fucking piecing Dustin up. And I think this fight specifically, we were able to see just how much Islam's game has developed. Was it maybe because he was struggling on the ground? I mean, he was able to take him down the first round and keep him there for a good amount of time. And the rest of the rounds, he didn't really do it as much. Maybe he showed a little bit trying to. But he just went out there and he was like, fuck it, I'm going to stand and bang with fucking Dustin Poirier. And he was winning most of those exchanges. And that's not what a lot of people thought of him before. And I mainly do think that's why a lot of people think or rank this fight as a high one, which I really do like this fight, and I'm glad a lot of people give the credit that it's due. But in terms of the scorecards, I don't think this fight was close. It was kind of similar to the Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier fight, where Max was piecing him up basically the whole fight. Maybe one round that Dustin took off of him, but he was up the whole fight. And it's the same thing that we saw with this fight. And I think that's fucking wild, because we think of this Dagestani guys, we think of these Russian guys, and these, they're all crotch sniffers, quote unquote. They're trying to take you down and keep you there and not really do anything, not even advance. And Islam does the exact fucking opposite. I mean, he said, fuck it, I'm going to stand and bang with this guy. And he beat him. He beat him in a tit-for-tat battle. I don't know what the striking numbers are exactly, but what I do know is that he was able to go out there and piece up a predominant striker. A striker that a lot of people have very, very high up in their rankings. So that's just something to think about, man. Like, you don't see... you don't see a John Jones, you don't see a GSP going out there and beating someone at their own best skill, especially not at the level of Dustin Poirier. And the final thing I will say on that is I brought up the strike numbers right here. Islam Makhachev had 147 total strikes compared to Dustin's 104, and he had 88 significant strikes compared to 74 of Dustin's, with 5 takedowns out of 16. So, as we know, we saw him struggle a little bit to take him down with his cobbly wobbly hips of Dustin. But that modern day skill that he's able to show, he showed that there's fucking levels to it. That when I take you down at the end of the 5th round, I'm still going to be able to fucking sub you. And the way he was able to take him down too, like that shit was crazy. Grabbing him by the ankle, twisting it, and finding a way to sub. And then here on the other picture I have up, I mean, he was able to sub a submission artist and Renato Moicano early. Just fucking sub him, get him out of there. Not even really struggle in that fight at all. No blood, no real sweat on his, on his skin or whatever. I don't know. That's a little sus. Also, what do we think about Islam Shorts? I really do like him. I think for one, it represents Dagestan, which obviously he wanted to do, and I just think it's a cool design, especially with the gold in there. But sorry about that. Ignore that. I'll tell my editor to edit that one out. But yeah, he was able to out there and make Renato Moicano just look easy on the ground, which who does that to Renato Moicano, man? You know what I'm saying, man? But honestly, like, his overall defense may not be the best, but his jiu-jitsu defense is pretty freaking good. And as we were able to see in the BSD fight, he fucking destroyed BSD. He fucking destroyed a guy that's top 15 now. So what the fuck would Islam do to him, And I'm sure that if Islam goes out there, first of all, if he finishes JDM, I think you'd have to argue a fucking... I don't know. You would have to bring out a Bible full of reasons as to why someone is better than Islam Makhachev in terms of GOAT status, because not only would he have done everything I just talked about, but he would have gone out there. And obviously, there's different ways to finish people. If it's in the 5th round, that might be different. But obviously, the style, the way the fight goes, is going to have a lot to do with it. But if he simply goes out there and fucking finishes JDM, I think most likely it's gonna be by sub. If he does, you're gonna there's really gonna be no argument, because he really went up a weight class where everyone's kind of doubting him a little bit. People are starting to be like, okay, is he gonna be maybe a little bit too big? Is he gonna, Craig Jones specifics? He wasn't able to take down Volk. But even if he goes out there and he tit for tats battles JDM, that would be fucking insane. That would be insane. A in prime JDM who was able to do this fucking piece of Bilal Muhammad, not be able for him to take him down. If he goes out there and does that, he is the GOAT of the sport. There is no argument, in my opinion. These 4 reasons that I just gave. The modern day skill, man, he's not going out there and he's doing it to fucking Shogun or Rampage Jackson, no offense to any of those guys. Those are, UFC legends in their own respects. But they don't have the level that these guys have. He's not going out there. He's not doing it to Nick Diaz, fucking Matt Hughes. So, guys, I think it's not a slippery slope, but I think we're coming up on greatness here. And there's 3 or 4 guys coming up here. Islam obviously being one of them. Merab, Ilya, Alex Pereira. I don't think Volk just has enough left in his tank to be able to get to GOAT status, but especially losing to 2 of the guys I just mentioned. We have a lot of guys coming for GOAT status, but I think the closest one, the guy that's 1 fight away, the guy that's 2 weeks away from being able to do it, in my opinion, is Islam Makhachev. This is why Islam Makhachev could be fighting for GOAT status. I really do hope you guys enjoy this video. A little bit different of what I'm doing, a little bit more commentary style like I did with Tom Aspinall. No crash out this time though, but like I said, I'm not going to upload for these next 2 cards, so I'm going to be doing videos like this, maybe some list videos, maybe some tier list videos. Let me know what you guys want. I'd also want to shout out to my 2 fucking subscribers now, wherever you guys are. I hope you're watching this video. For some reason, YouTube isn't letting me see who they are, so I can't shout you guys out unless I'm being stupid. But like I said, guys, this is the start of something great, and I got 2 guys invested in me already. Make sure you do the same. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this with your friends, and I'll see you next time. Peace.